Okay, Algebra 1, we are going to do section 2-9%. So I just want you guys to remember that percent is always part of the whole. So for example, if you had an 80% on your test, you did not get them all right, you got part of them right. So we use percents a lot. We use them in, sales and when we are comparing things. And the reason why they're so nice is because 60% of something is equal to 60% of another thing. So we are going to be doing 3 different things. We are going to be finding the part, finding the percent, and finding the whole. And so I'm going to show you 2 different methods. You don't have to use both methods. You can pick whichever one you like. But I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do these problems. So for example, the first one, finding the part. So you're finding 50% of 20. So what you're going to do every single time, we're going to do the percent over 100. And then we're always going to do the part over the whole. And I call this my is number. And this my of number. And that works most of the time. So if they give you the percent, you're always going to put that over 100. And it says of 20. So we're taking part of the whole, which is 20. And you need to figure out what that is. Now, we know that what 50% is, but I'm just going to show you how this works. So 50 times 20 divided by 100, and we're going to get 10. So x equals 10. Okay. If you were going to use an equation, the word of means to multiply. Okay. So basically this is saying 50% of 20. Now we can't do calculations with percent, so you have to remember to change that to a decimal. Some of you are going to like this better, 0.5 times 20. You will get the same answer. Okay, you can use whichever method you like. The next one. We're going to use a proportion, so it says 505% of 72. So again, the percent over 100 of 72. So we're taking a portion of 72. We don't know what that is. And so I would take 105 times 72 equals divided by 100. And I get 75.6. If we were doing an equation, 105% of, which is multiplication, 72. So to change this to a decimal, I'm going to move that over, 1.05 times 72. And your number should be bigger than 72 because if you got 105 on your test, you would get more than 72 points on your test. And we get the same answer. Okay. So the next 2, find 20% of 60. I'm going to do one way, one the other. So 20% of 60, and you do 20 times 60 divided by 100, and we get 12. Okay, I'm going to do this one the equation method. So I have to change this to a decimal. 2.10 times 8 equals, so 2.1 times 8, and I get 16.8. There's our answer. Okay. So your next is finding the percent. So just like if they gave us the percent, we are missing the percent. So when you make your proportion, that's where your x goes. It goes over 100. And it says what percent of 60, so we're taking a chunk of 60, we just don't know how much, and is 15. So I like to think of this, what percent is 15? So it goes across from each other. Then we're going to solve 15 times 100 divided by 60, and I get 25. And then just don't forget that that's a percent. If we're doing it as an equation, again, I like to do this, like what percent of 60 is equals 15. So this is your variable right here. So if you're solving for that, you would divide both sides by 60. What percent equals, and then if I take 15 divided by 60, I get 0.25. I like to use WP because that reminds me that I need to put it into a percent. You do that by moving that 2 places, so it'd be 25%. That's the only thing I like, is that if you are working with percents in the proportion method, you don't forget to change it into a percent. Okay, my next two, I'm going to do one of each way. So I'm going to do this one as a proportion. So it says 440 is what percent? So again, I'm missing the percent of 400. Oops, 400. And then notice this says 440 is what percent? That means they're equal to each other. Okay. So I'm going to do 440 times 100 divided by 400, and I get 110. Remember, you're doing a percent there. So I'm going to do this one in the equation method. You can use whatever method. I'm just trying to use the best use of our time. So it says 27 is what percent of 9? So then just treat this like a variable that we don't know. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. But that's not my answer. Remember, I have to take 3 and change it into a percent by moving my decimal place twice. So that would give me 300%. Okay, now the third type is finding the whole. Again, using a proportion, if they give you the percent, put it over 100. Of what number? So that's our of number we don't know, is 14. So what they're saying though is 40% is 14. So these two should be equal to each other. So now I'm going to take 14 times 100, and then I'm going to divide it by 40, and I get 35. So is 14 40% of 35? Yep, a little less than half. If you use the equation method, you would do 40% of, or I should just make this multiplication, of what number is 14. The only catch is that you have to change this to a decimal before you can do any operations. Okay, so then you would take and you would divide both sides by 0.4, and equals 14 divided by 0.4. It's going to be 35. And let's see, do I have two? Nope, just one. I'll do it both ways. So 40 is 0.8% of what number? We don't know. So 40 times 100 divided by 0.8 is 5,000. Okay, 0.8 is a very small percent, so that means that this number had to be a lot bigger. Using an equation, 40 is 0.8% of what number? Change this to a decimal, 0.008. Need to move that 2 places. Solve this by dividing. So then 40 divided by, oops, I forgot the 8 on there, would give us 5,000. Okay. just a couple word examples on the back. You can use the same type of expression, percent over 100, and then part over whole, and it's very useful in these word problems. I almost always like to use a proportion in these. So it says jewelers use the carat system to determine the amount of pure gold in jewelry. Pure gold is 24 carats, meaning the item is 100% gold. A 14-karat gold ring contains 14 parts gold and 10 parts other metal. What percent of the ring is gold? So this is our gold. Okay. So they have 14 carats, 14 parts. So if we know that we're looking for the percent, we know that 100% gold is 24 carats. So we want to know what percent is 14 carats. So 14 times 100 divided by 24 gives us, and it says the nearest percent, so that's a whole number. So it's 58.3 repeating, so the nearest percent is just 58% gold. Okay, so we're going to use this information again. It wants to know what is the number of carats in a bracelet that's 42% gold. So they give you the percent, so put that over 100. You know that 100% is 24 karat gold. So you're looking for what is 42%. So 42 times 24 divided by 100 gives us 10.08. But we're going to go to the whole number, so it's just 10 carats. So I do think that proportions make the word problems a lot easier, but again, you could use an equation if you wanted to.